On November 4th, Vancouver, Washington Mayor Anne McEnerny-Ogle was elected to a third term. As she's done since 2018, she's presiding over a growing community that is no longer viewed as a suburb of Portland, but as a dynamic city in its own right. The election was not close, with McEnerny-Ogle pulling 71% of the vote over challenger Justin Forsman's 29%. So with that strong vote of confidence from Vancouver voters, the former school teacher, city councilor, and the first woman to serve as Vancouver mayor joins me on Eye on Northwest Politics. Mayor McEnerny-Ogle, thanks for being here and congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Well, before we get to your vision for the city, there was another big issue on the ballot in Vancouver this November. That was the public safety levy, Prop 5. It passed with just over 54% of the vote. What does that mean for public safety in the city of Vancouver?
And we knew when Proposition 4 failed last year that we needed to go back and revise a solution because the problem hasn't changed. And so this Prop 5 was much simpler. 15 cents per thousand assessed value. 13 new officers, plus all the equipment, the cars, the vehicles, the criminal justice, the prosecution work that needs to happen along with those 13 new officers. It was a simple message, and the voters said, yes, move forward. So we're excited about that opportunity. And in fact, you folks can go onto our website now and see the recruitment process. Public records request specialists. We have a public safety test coming up. You can go on a ride along with our officers if that's something that you're considering, so that you can jump in and know what the job entails. And so we're right in the middle of recruitment. We can even offer scholarships for students coming out of high school if they're going to a 2 or 4 year college, if they want to do that for a criminal justice degree. You don't need it, but we'd be happy to support you.
Well, you know, about 200,000 people live in Vancouver, and unlike Portland, Vancouver is growing pretty fast. Your population's up about 3.5% just since the 2020 census. So what challenges does that present to the city of Vancouver as you grow at this rate?
Absolutely. You can imagine, and people will remember even back in 2000, the population was about 144,000. Then it jumped 18,000 in 10 years, then 22,000 in another 10 years. And just in these last 5 years, we are actually at about 208, 209, so about 19,000 in 5 years. So you can imagine the housing, the affordability, the infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, parks, schools, hospitals, everything along with that. When you have 46% growth in a little over 2 decades, people are coming here, migrating here, and all of the pain and agony that comes with it, plus the joy of just having new people come and be a part of this.
How are you addressing affordable housing in Vancouver and in Clark County and your surrounding areas?
Right. So, Ken, I think it would surprise individuals in Oregon when they think about Washington. We have a similar planning program that Oregon has. We call it GMA, Growth Management Act. And the GMA requires the city to plan for all of those new individuals. So in that new housing plan, we're required to have 40,000 new housing units over the next 20 years, 2,000 a year, half of which are supposed to be affordable. So we adopted new ordinances and new planning strategies. It wouldn't surprise people in Oregon that Vancouver is requiring middle housing. So in the old days, we got rid of boarding houses, duplexes, multiplexes, and single family zones.
I want to talk about the Vancouver waterfront. That's an amazing development. I'm over there all the time. Every time I visit, there seems to be a new restaurant or a winery or some other attraction there. How did that happen, and what has that done for the city?
You're talking 20 years ago when an economic development director here in the city of Vancouver, Eric Holmes, saw the good bones in that old contaminated industrial land and worked with the old city council to say, let's make this waterfront area work for us. That was hard work because it was contaminated. Lumber, mills, Alcoa, everything. Plus, we had a railroad burn between the city and the water that we hadn't had access through, which meant working with BNSF to cut 2 holes in it and put streets through that berm. So about 12 years, 15 years ago, things started happening, and Graymore Development and local philanthropists, local developers said yes. They put their money into it and they started to make it work. Even through the recession, they were making it work. And it was a huge surprise that it was going to be so quick. Everyone thought it would take forever for it to build. But once those first buildings went up, once the park was developed, once the pier was developed, people started saying, this is exciting, let's keep going. And new development came in. I think we only have 3 spots left that are not completely built out. And the plans are downstairs, ready to rock and roll, and people are looking at those opportunities. But
yeah, that won't take very long for those to fill.
Yeah.
I don't think, the way that things are going now. You're also promoting what the city says will be America's biggest food cart plaza. It's going to be called Vancouver Station. Briefly, where will that be, and what's the vision for that?
Out East Vancouver. So there's a number of locations out there that individuals are looking at. What they are, Ken, are the old quarries. So if you head way east, it butts up right against Camas, where you had old quarries that are now filling in off of 192nd. So you have down on 14, that whole old quarry is filling in. Then the VIC, the Vancouver Innovation Center, and then Section 30. So 192nd, it takes you about 23 minutes to get from downtown out there, but everything is being developed out on that east side right next to Camas.
We've been talking about replacing the interstate bridge between Portland and Vancouver for a while now. Yep. From your view, are we on track to make that happen, especially with the uncertainty surrounding federal funding?
Oh, yes. Actually, we received some great news this week, and you probably saw the press release that the governor put out. The 4 water users that are upstream from the I-5 bridge, all of those impacts have been mitigated. They'll share in the $140 million that has been allocated for that mitigation, which is much cheaper than $500 million for a lift bridge. But those water users do not need a lift bridge. They are agreeing in writing and everything else that what they continue to do in heavy industrial areas can fit under 116 feet fixed bridge. So the U.S. Coast Guard has that navigation report. The application is there. Now that the federal government is back in business and working, we hope that the Coast Guard and the engineers start sitting down and looking at all of the plans that the IBR folks have put together. And there will be a 30-day comment period. So we have more water users saying, yes, we're good with 116 feet, build it and keep going. So that was excellent news. And that met all of the requirements the old CRC impact had. So we're excited that the opportunity for a record of decision may come as early as 2026 with something in the water, starting in the bridge in the middle of the river and working out. So,
Mayor Anne McEnerny-Ogle of Vancouver, congratulations on that. Also want to mention that you're unveiling a new city flag next week. So the symbol for Vancouver will look a little different. I've seen the designs. It'll be a little more modern and better, I think. So thank you very much for joining Eye on Northwest Politics. Always a pleasure to have you.
Ken, thank you, and congratulations on all of your work also.